Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axon,
I'm Sint.
and we are back in the world of La-Mulana. And we're also back in the Discworld.
A less well-known one this time. At least I've heard fewer people talk about this one than the ones that are actually part of their own little mini-series.
Yep.
We are discussing Pyramids, one of Pratchett's rare standalone Discworld novels.
Yep.
So, shall we get into it?
Yep. I actually hadn't read Pyramids before this, but I figured it was Discworld, and it fits our interests at the moment, and should be fun.
You want to know something ironic?
Go ahead.
I have never found a Discworld novel to fall flat. What hurt more, the pun or being knocked off the pyramid by Sonic the Hedgehog?
The pun. I only took a few
Excellent.
damage from Sonic.
Alright, so, as is our tradition, let's get into the plot, which begins with
Ow.
Prince Tepic remind me.
Jelly Baby.
Jelly Baby, thank you.
I'll put how
remember
that's spelled on screen in post. But yes, it's
I couldn't
pronounced
remember.
Jelly Baby.
Because I remember, in a different book, Pratchett had learned that Americans didn't get it because we don't have jelly babies over here. So he named a different country Persheba. So we would get it. I couldn't remember which one that was, though. So Prince Tepic of Jelly Baby is being trained outside of his homeland in the Ankh-Morpork Assassins Guild because Jelly Baby is broke AF, and therefore he needed to learn a trade, and being an assassin is pretty lucrative.
It's also
Only
very well
problem
respected.
is-
It's also very well respected.
Oh, yeah. Oh yes, the assassins don't just kill people, they have style and a code.
They have standards.
Yes. So, the only problem with this, Tepic doesn't have it in him to actually kill someone. So, during his final exam, he decides, well, I'm going to fail with style, so I'm going to deliberately miss this tied up and bound person, this bound and blindfolded person. And the shot ricochets in the most ridiculous way possible and lands right in the middle of the bundle, which turns out to be just a dummy. So he passes, on accident, when he was trying to fail.
This is going to set up a recurring theme with Tepic.
But yeah, meanwhile, back home, his father has a momentary panic attack because a cloud has covered the sun, and the king, pharaoh, leader of Jelly Baby's duty is to ensure that the sun rises. So he thinks, oh no, I have failed in my duty, and jumps off the balcony in shame, only for the cloud to clear while he's on the way down.
Didn't I do all of this?
I don't remember, it's been a while. So Tepic has to come back home and be king. But hey, being king's great, right? You get to do what you want.
Yep, I did do all of this already. I loaded the wrong file. My bad.
You have so many save files. Like, I did it with... I think last time I played, I just rotated, like, 3.
I've normally just been rotating 1. I'm not sure how I got on the second page. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, being king means you get to do whatever you want, right? No, you have to wear a mask because the mask is what is recognized as the king, not the person behind it. And can I do... No, that's beneath you. That's beneath you, your highness. It is for me, High Priest Dios, to do everything for you. Which, basically, you know, Evil Vizier 101. So Tepik is essentially a prisoner in the highest office in the land. He's a figurehead puppet with no actual power to do anything. But since he's the first Pharaoh of Jelly Baby to actually be educated outside of the country, he actually feels more at home in Ankh-Morpork than he does in Jelly Baby. And he is not coping well with all of the millennia of traditions. Like, for example, I'd like a nice bed. It never arrives. What about indoor plumbing? Never happens.
Apparently this is the correct save.
Yeah. So, one of the late king's handmaidens, Tracy, spelled with a T, because, of course.
With a P, you mean?
Yes, I'm tired. She is sentenced to death because, well, she was your father's favorite handmaiden, and obviously we need to,
Yeah,
did we just do this?
Yeah, but I restarted.
Yeah, but I thought you restarted because you had done this puzzle already. I misunderstood.
I thought I had, but apparently I haven't, because that other save that's at 3 hours has even less progress than this one. It's
So
never
noted.
been Spring in the Sky. So I'm guessing it's from the first time I played on this computer.
Alright.
Anyway, the reason that she's having to be put to death because he was the favorite is because now that he's dead, she gets buried in his tomb with him. And speaking of...
welcome to not Egypt. Yeah, so the king's still around because, well, that's the purpose of the pyramids. We preserve them so they can, come back to life when we need them. So he's just kind of stuck chilling as a ghost while they embalm his body. And, yeah, that's the afterlife for them and Jelly Baby. The pharaohs don't go anywhere, they just stay forever.
And all of this is being overseen by the mysterious High Priest Dios. You mentioned the creepy vizier. That's Dios. Who,
You thought I was a different character, but it was me, Dios.
Dios is described as immensely old and coming from a very old family, and he is very big on tradition. To the point where he regularly... Stop that! Overwrites the king on his own declarations because that's not what the king would do. And this is increasingly a problem for Tepik.
Yep. Comes to a head when Tracy is sentenced to death, and Tepik doesn't really want to deal with this, so he uses his assassin training to break into the palace and help her escape. At which point, he is cited as an intruder by Dios, by order of the king, even though Dios knows very well that Tepik is the king. But since no one has ever seen him as king without the mask, I wonder if this is intentional at all. Surprise fish! So yeah, Tepik and Tracy are on the run. Also, to note, it's really easy to get out of Jelly Baby because the whole country is like 2 miles wide because they've had to sell off so much of the land so they can afford to keep making these grand pyramids. Even though, to note, the late king expressly had told Tepik that he didn't want a pyramid, and Tepik tried very hard to not get him a pyramid, but Dios. So they're making the biggest and bestest pyramid ever, which predictably goes horrifically wrong and basically warps space-time.
Yep, because it turns out that the way pyramids are designed in the Discworld, they have an effect on time itself. And one of the reasons that Jelly Baby is stuck in kind of the old-fashioned reality that it's in is because the pyramids have been sucking away the future time available in the region and expelling it out into the universe, and thus all of the people living in Jelly Baby are living on reused old time. And the more...
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
And the more and the larger pyramids they build, the more this future time keeps getting sucked up. And the more things are basically stuck in the past as a result. This all comes to a head when, in the process of building Tepesimon, the late king, Tepik's father, building his pyramid, the time warping effects get out of hand and start having immediate local effects on, like, the workers.
It does get better though.
Sure, but
you know why the pyramids kind of lead you to make more pyramids, right?
I don't remember. It was in the book.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Oh my word.
You know that's what Pratchett intended. Are you going to tell me Discworld is not about puns?
No, it absolutely is. I just didn't... I don't remember if it actually said that explicitly, and I didn't put two and two together.
You don't like it.
No, I don't like it.
Well, you mean a country without pyramids is pointless. You suggested this book. This is your fault.
It is my fault. So, in the process of building the pyramid, time starts becoming funny. You start seeing multiples of the pyramid builders' sons because they're getting looped in on themselves in cycled time. And, like, they start losing workers because they get stuck in time loops that nobody knows how to get them out of. It turns into a big ol' mess. And... Ow. In the process of... And this is all happening at the same time that, like, Tepik is trying to get Tracy safely out of prison, and he eventually comes up with the idea of getting her out of the country entirely. Right as he and she and the camel they're riding make their way out of just beyond the borders of Jelly Baby, the big pyramid just goes berserk. And the time warping effect becomes incredibly unstable, and to borrow directly from the text, everything turns 90 degrees on reality.
Oh, to note, the camel they're riding, you bastard, is noted as the greatest mathematician in the world.
Yep. Because since camels have absolutely nothing better to do with their time other than sit around in the baking hot sun of the desert, they've got really good at doing math in their heads.
It's why they can spit with such precision. But yeah, so now they have to get back into Jelly Baby, and Tepik does run into help in the form of one of his assassin guild friends, Chitter, who is absolutely not a smuggler, just ask him.
Yep, and this is after he ends up in the neighboring country of Ephebi, and has a run-in with a couple of interesting philosophers. There's Zeno, the mathematician, and Ibid, the expert on everything.
Which made me facepalm so hard. Ibid is commonly used in footnotes for citations.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep, it's absolutely that
Pratchett,
kind of joke.
Pratchett has fun with this kind of thing. Or had fun. I'm sad now.
You did this to yourself.
Technically, I didn't have anything to do with it, but...
Yeah, I could have sworn I'd done this last time.
I thought you had too. Oh, well, maybe you didn't save, or it crashed or something? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Oh, well.
Either way, so now Jelly Baby is stuck in a set of a parallel time and space outside the normal reaches of what passes for reality in Discworld. And even with Chitter's help, Chitter just gets Tepik, basically just gives him a place to stay for a while and some transportation. After he's tried to get some help from the philosophers. And Tepik ends up... Well, first and foremost, back in Jelly Baby, another effect of everything going off the rails is that all of the buried former rulers actually do come back to life in their tombs as mummies. So, at the same time that Tepik is trying to figure out how to get back into his country, and Tracy, of course, is trying to convince him not to and to just leave. Because she doesn't feel like it's worth it to try and fix whatever in the world is going wrong back in Jelly Baby. They're having to deal with a sudden uprising of the undead, and the physical presence of all of the many, many gods worshipped in Jelly Baby. This is a problem for the priests, because the gods aren't actually supposed to show up. They're just supposed to be there in spirit so that the priests have their backing when they tell people what to do. And having
Yeah,
the
they're
gods...
supposed to be a vague and nebulous threat that they can use as a cudgel.
Yeah, and when the gods are there and the priests are trying to, get them to stop wrecking the place, and the gods don't listen, this is not good for priestly morale, and the various lesser priests are not thrilled with Dios's inability to explain this.
So he gets selected, well, basically everybody says, you get to go talk to them, you're the high priest after all.
Yup.
Fully expecting him to not come back. So, ultimately, things are solved by Tepik's assassin training when he manages to throw a dagger at just the right angle to disrupt the energy flow from the pyramid. Everything gets fixed. Tracy is revealed to be Tepik's half-sister, which is why she was the late king's favorite handmaiden. And
It's that
Tepik
kind of
leaves.
place.
Yeah, Tepik leaves, leaving Tracy in charge. She doesn't want to be in charge. Because as she says, look, the new high priest is awful. Like, yeah, just don't do anything he says. You're lucky. I had to deal with Dios. Bye.
And speaking of Dios was... We kind of skipped over some of the stuff that happened at the end because it gets a bit nutty because time is...
It's Discworld.
Well, on top of normal Discworld nutty. Because time is kind of breaking as, like, the undead are thronging, the gods are on the rampage, the high priest, or the priests in general, are running around trying to get things done. Dios is trying to approach the gods directly and wrangle Tepik. And as a result of this, he is right on Tepik's heels as he is reaching the top of the pyramid to the spot where he needs to stick his dagger to uncap the pyramid's head, the capstone, to set things right. And to put the pyramid back in position. And as a result, when Tepik sets off the pyramid, that it kind of explodes, and he is thrown like across the desert and lands safely in some sand. Dios is not thrown. He manages to maintain his grip on the pyramid, and he wakes up in a very different location, or rather, the exact same location, but a very different time. All on his own, lying in an uninhabited desert near the shores of the River Gel, where he sees a camel herder and his family fleeing into the desert, and approaches them to tell them about the wants of the gods and his destiny as a king.
Well, we said Dios was old.
Suggesting that he is infinitely old because his entire life exists as a time loop. And that's pyramids.
Yep. It's a fun one.
Yep. On the weird side even for Pratchett, but fun. What is with your leg there, Lameza? Anywho, I think we'll pick up from here next time, now that we've done the plot, and we'll continue with our discussion.
Ooh, we're gonna get punched by Socket again.
Yay. See y'all then.